Sit! Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss Dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Rich Dotson. He's Matt O'Hara.
Hey.
He's Garrett Price.
How's it going?
And he's Jared Wackerly.
Hey, guys.
Oh, thank God. So we're back.
Cleared that up.
If you tuned in yesterday, we had a very long episode. And if you don't know, we don't do this in separate days. We record these shows back.
Same night.
You know,
Here we
same
are.
clothes I wore yesterday. Trying to take the stress away. Smoking on
the
that.
hey.
So, yeah, we're just here. Thank goodness there's a lot less to talk about when you talk about the receiver class.
I'll say this, though. I'll say this. For as bad as I thought the class was, the first six, there were at least some names in there that I was like, okay, this is a guy that I would be drafting and I would be happy to have on my
And there
team.
were some guys that I've heard of. Jimmy Horn. His dad was good.
Yeah.
It's not his dad.
No?
Joe Horn's not his dad.
Oh.
Nope.
Because he's Jimmy Horn Jr.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right.
You're thinking Joe Horn from the
I
same
was
show.
thinking Joe Horn.
I
With the cell
looked
phone?
it up earlier today. And
Okay.
I was like, oh yeah, his son's J.C. Horn, the corner. For
All right, well.
Panthers.
Then never mind. Chalk it up.
Yes.
There was a specific article
is really
dedicated to saying he's not his dad.
That he's not his dad? Well,
JC Horn's actually really good. He's a cornerback.
J.C. Horn is.
Yeah, they just signed a big extension.
I
Actually.
just figured they were all related. My bad.
So, and I'm with
Same
you.
color
Like,
Sorry, I thought the same.
Huh?
Same color scheme.
I don't know
Saints
why.
and
In my brain.
Buffalo.
Yeah, in my brain. It was Jimmy Horn. Even
You're
in
not alone.
even in New Orleans.
Yeah, you're not alone. I did
So when I saw Jimmy Horn Jr., I just thought it was him. But it was Joe Horn. You're right.
so I'm gonna go with Garrett here. I'm gonna say this before we get, because obviously, like, getting into this, like, I've only now watched tape on 6 receivers. Now I've watched a Mecca too. To be fair,
To be fair.
and I like his tape a lot.
To be fair.
To be fair.
So a lot of people are saying this is a really weak receiver class. But I will say there's a lot of still receivers we got to talk that I know their names out that I know are pretty good. And these are, out of these 6 guys, there were 3 guys that I liked. So I think I'm going to be pretty excited about talking to some of these receivers. And I can't wait to see where they're going to slide in amongst these running backs. And then we're going to do tight ends because I hear it's a really deep tight end class as well. So that being said, we're going to dive right in here. And let's see where we're going to end up because we have 5 episodes total.
Yep.
Right, to do on receivers. This is episode 1.
Normally we do 6. We replaced one of them with a running back, and rightfully
Smart.
so.
Good job, Garrett.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
So let's dive in. Let's see where we end up with all of them. It's going to be exciting. 3 guys here I like a lot.
All right, first up here, Tet McMillan, Arizona wide receiver, 6'4" and an eighth, 219 pounds. He had 10-inch hands. He's 21 years old. He'll be 22 in April, the very beginning of April. He didn't run anything at the combine, but there were some 40s that came out of his pro day this past week that ranged anywhere from 4.48 to 4.55. The 4.55s are the ones where I saw, people that tweet this kind of stuff was like, hey, I heard from multiple NFL sources that it's really the 4.55 is the right number.
Yeah, I saw Brugler said that.
Yeah, so the 4.55 is probably closer to what's correct.
Which is totally fine. Definitely for his size. It's
Yeah,
pretty
absolutely.
good, actually. It's
Which
actually
I
pretty good.
think passes the eyeball test for me as
Yes,
well when you watch it. So last year at Arizona in 12 games, he had 84 receptions, 1,319 yards receiving, 8 touchdowns on the year. That was on 130 targets. I have some other stuff. He only had 7 drops, so that was pretty good. I don't know. Yards after contact, 430.
Yeah,
yards after catch, sorry.
we'll kick things off with Teteroa McMillan. Going forward, I'll just call him Tet McMillan.
Teteroa for me is something that does not roll off my tongue when I see his name visually. It doesn't click in my brain, so Teteroa always comes out something weird when I read it. But when you say it, I can say it back.
Teteroa McMillan is
Teteroa.
his name. We'll call him Tet McMillan.
Yep.
He's a 6'4", 219-pound Polynesian hunk, right? He's out there. He's just torching defenses like
Definitely.
a flamethrower at a luau.
Definitely how I would explain it, yeah.
So this dude was Arizona's highest rated recruit ever. A 5-star, top 5 national wideout who actually flipped from Oregon to join. He really wanted to go play with his high school dudes, right? His quarterback, Noah Fafita, tight end.
Big mistake.
Keon Burnett, linebacker, Jacob Manu. So he's got some loyalty, right? And,
He does.
You know, and when you watch his tape, and you see McMillan, he really does remind me of like a Mike Evans, right? Like he's definitely does remind me of Drake London. He reminds me way more of a Mike Evans. I mean, he's a possession beast, right? With the size and ball skate skills just to dominate deep. He's a linear mover off the line. Once he gets rolling, that's where he really starts to eat things up. Again, one of my biggest flaws on him is him getting rolling, honestly. But like, I mean, once he does, he starts to eat up that turf like I'm at the buffet line, right? Like it's just like gobble, 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 gobble.
It's his first couple steps, man.
Yeah. His hands are sticky. He's
Big 10-inch hands. He can catch away from his frame all over the place.
Really good adjustment.
I mean, I think that is something you gotta kind of.
He bails out his bad QB a ton, and like he adjusts his routes.
He's a high school
like a wizard.
Fafita, like you know how you watch guys sometimes, and you're like, that guy just makes it look so easy. He is the complete opposite. Fafita makes it look so difficult.
Dude,
the quarterback in
every
Arizona,
throw looks so
It
difficult.
looks like he's closing his eyes and just heaving it.
He like has to get his whole body. He's like, oh. Okay, anyway, keep going.
Yeah, I mean, his catch radius is massive. I mean, this guy could snag a pass off of Joe Biden's teleprompter. You know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous. I mean,
I gave him a 10 on that.
His hand fighting is very, very good.
The one thing I will mention on his hands, I think he fell in love at some point with catching the ball with one hand, and there are times
he could have
made catches if he just brought the other hand with it instead of trying to make this fantastic one-handed. Dude, just use two hands, man. Like, come on, quit trying to make
easy on the mic over there.
Easy on what, Mike?
You like headbutted it.
Dang, you know, F this mic, dude. I'll headbutt it if it gets in my way again. I'm like Quinshon Junkins.
I'll
like
do it again.
So, I mean, like he's what you want out of that big X receiver, right? Like I feel like he's got a really safe floor.
I would agree with that.
Like I feel like his floor is like a Cortland Sutton, right? Like someone like this past year's Cortland Sutton, and his ceiling's like Mike Evans, you know, like that. Where he's not going to be like that high end wide receiver one, but like he's going to be a wide receiver one for 10 years straight, right? Because he's a young kid, big radius, but like again, the rub is like him getting off the line, right? Him getting bogged down by press coverage like he's stuck in traffic.
Yep.
Like it's
What metaphors today, man.
What was it? The Utah game. I saw him get pressed there, and that was one of his worst games. Six catches, 50 yards, and they were pressing
Utah
him
presses a lot.
They were pressing him at the line.
We'll talk about that with Jalen Royals too.
and it's something that he has to work out. So there's some flaws in. Like the first thing I came away like when I got done watching all this tape, I was like, man, like a lot. Like I've been saying because I've been hearing it and looking at like the highlights and stuff. Like Tet McMillan, wide receiver one, and he's gonna be the first pick. I was like, man, there's definitely like I've been hearing about Luther Burden. I know about Mecca, but like Travis Hunter as receiver.
Yeah.
You know,
there's room for someone.
There's
else to
room
take the
for
crown.
somebody to easily be the number one receiver in this class. Because after watching all the tape, like if you ask me today, like Rich, you have to guess is Tet McMillan the number one running back and number one receiver in this class? I would say I hope not.
I will say,
but he's a very
could be.
But he's a very good fantasy receiver. You know what I mean? Like it's why I said like I'd for sure take those 4 running backs ahead of him easily.
And I agree with the Cortland Sutton thing, man, because I feel like that is kind of his floor, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like he could end up being this guy that just lives in wide receiver 2 purgatory.
Which is not bad for fantasy.
Which is not bad. You need those kind of guys, you know, hopefully in your 3rd spot or maybe as your 4th wide receiver. But I think the upside for a Tet McMillan, to me, when I see him, I see, what's his name from Ohio State? Michael Thomas is who
I thought it was a really good comp.
That's who I see, like a guy that can catch a slant and go. You know what I mean? Like, but he's got to be able to clean up the stuff the first couple steps and get off the line. So that's like the one drawback. If he can't figure that stuff out, I don't know what he is.
And that was my lowest score. I gave him a below average score on release. I did not like his releases at all. He did not vary them.
Yeah.
You would see him get like pushed to the sideline a bit if he took an outside release. So
it messes up the whole timing of everything in the NFL. Especially.
It does. And he was so good at contested catches that it didn't matter in college. That will matter at the NFL level. And so that is my number one chief concern. He got a good score for me, 77.15. It's a good score.
It's a really good score.
But if he ends up being my wide receiver 1, that will be the lowest wide receiver 1 score that I've given so far.
He got bad burst and bad releases for me. Those were like his 2.
The other thing that I thought was interesting is, I don't know if you guys went back to any of his 2023 tape or not. I went back to his 2023 game specifically because he matched up against Travis Hunter at Colorado.
Sure.
3 catches, 15 yards.
That's bad.
Against Travis Hunter. Now, he did get a touchdown in there.
Yeah.
But it was another thing there where I'm like, against really good corners, you saw it a little bit in Utah when they could press. If teams get kind of the memo that, hey, we get on this guy early, then we force him to have to make special plays, which he can at times. But that is my big concern. If he busts, it's going to be because he struggles getting off the line.
You can't get off the line and then stack a DB to get past him. So they have no reason to not do that. You know what I mean? Like if he could get off that jam and then get behind them with that first step quickness, he doesn't have the first step quickness.
Corners are getting taller.
Right.
It used to be all these corners were 5'9", 5'10", maybe 5'11". Now we're getting a lot of 6'1", 6'2" corners that can defend these bigger guys and these traditionally
go throw it up and
jump, the contested catch specialists. They can defend those guys a lot easier than they used to be able to. So that's the thing for me. Is he very special at catch radius, contested catch? Like, he can do some of those things at a special level. That's not good enough anymore. Had this been 15 years ago, very different story. Yeah. But I think in today's NFL, he's going to have a little bit of a harder time than he would have had then.
And you're right. Historically, over like the last 15 years or so, players like that have more of a miss rate than they do a hit rate, unfortunately. Right. And that's what makes me really nervous about him. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, I can't like.
I have a feeling I'm going to feel better about other guys, and they will be ahead of him.
Yeah, like
by
a guy
by the end of this.
Like I feel like Luther Murden.
Maybe
like
it's a bad class.
It is a bad, or it's a bad class. Right?
But like I feel like
just the top.
Again, I know this sounds crazy from watching the tape. I feel like Ibuka is much safer.
He's definitely safer
than Tet McMillan. You know what I mean? Like that's what I feel like. So for me, like again,
he's technically sound. Emeka
Yeah. And we're talking.
He's got that Amon-Ra in him where it's just like, I'm going to do everything right.
Yeah. And there's nothing worse when we're sitting there talking about a class that's very deep at certain like tight end and running back positions of very value. The last thing you want to do is swing and miss and grab the guy who's just like a wide receiver 3. You don't want to end up with what's the guy who we loved a lot that went to Arizona?
You love N'Keal Harry.
Oh, N'Keal
No,
Harry.
not N'Keal Harry. He was like the wide receiver 1 for a while.
N'Keal Harry.
Oh my gosh.
Hakeem Butler?
Hakeem Butler. Yeah.
Oh, Iowa State.
Yeah. But where did he get drafted? How did he get drafted?
Cardinals.
Cardinals, yeah. That's just someone in Arizona.
Oh, I was thinking Arizona
so
University.
Everyone thought you were talking about Arizona University.
But like, that's one thing. I don't want to end up with like
exactly
right. I don't want to end up with Hakeem Butler.
Sure.
You know what I mean? The Doyle Green back. Like I don't want to.
Hakeem Butler couldn't catch really though, so
that's fair.
Like
he definitely has great ball skills, and that's the thing that bails him out.
Yes.
And that's why I'm not ready to say like he's not going to be good. I think he could be very good if he can clean up these releases.
I like him, by the way. Like, this is not like a dig on him at all. But like again, there's. Like you said, historically, like it makes me nervous.
And speaking of historically, to put him in the context of last year's draft, I mean, 5th, 6th best wide receiver, 7th best wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're talking so negatively on him right now because the community's like really hyping him
high
up.
on him.
He just came off his pro day. Everyone's like,
he's a product of maybe
high.
a bad wide receiver class, but like your grade's good. 77's good. Like I have about a 76, so it's like.
I have him closer to a 75. So, but whatever. It is what it is.
He shows flashes. Like I
he
think
still would have easily been behind a lot of guys in the past few years.
Yeah, I think his route run, like he has a lot of potential. He definitely needs work, like we're saying. But I do see flashes of like good route running too. Like he does work that in where I'm like, oh, okay, that looked nice. And
he's there's guys that sink their hips, right? And can burst out of sharp cuts. He's not that guy. But you could still be a good route runner without doing that.
He's pretty nimble with the ball in his hands.
He's definitely nimble with the ball in his. But he's a more linear, like kind of upright route runner. And when he gets the ball in his hands, I was surprised by the fact that a 6'4", 220-pound guy is like trying to make and successfully
juke
making
people out and stuff.
dudes miss in the open field after he gets the ball, because you don't expect that out of a guy like that.
And I think the Arizona offense as a whole, his quarterback was bad. Their scheme, it just didn't do us any favors as like evaluating him for the next level. It was kind of tough. So, but yeah, I'm with you, Rich. Like, I'm much rather take these safer running backs that we really like in this class. And I think he's going to need a year before he's producing for us.
So I'm interested to see where he ends up against, again, a nice player, but I'm interested to see the rest of the receivers where he ends up. Because, like, again, I wouldn't be surprised, like, if some of these, like, names pan out, like, he's my wide receiver 4, 5. Like, it wouldn't shock me.
Maybe.
Which I like him.
Well, and especially because we are going to evaluate Travis Hunter as a wide receiver.
Yes.
I think he'll surpass him, even though we're not 100% sure he's going to the next level as a wide receiver. We're still evaluating.
A lot lately is coming out. I know before, everything's coming out.
It
He's
is
going to be
starting to
defense.
trend that way.
Everything's now trending. He's going to be a receiver.
I'm 100% certain I'm going to like Travis Hunter more than him when I watch him as a wide
Travis
receiver.
Hunter's a freak.
Because I've seen
like
snips
Luther
of it,
Burden
and
more
I
said-
know that I like what he does more.
You said Travis Hunter shut him down. I'm like, well, yeah, he'd probably come in and shut down like CeeDee Lamb and like he's that good.
He's a very good player.
Yeah.
He's a very good player. But still, like when you have two guys go head to head like that,
Yeah, it's
that's
good
where
to
the
see.
rubber meets the road. Like how elite receivers can beat elite corners.
Yeah.
It
helps when you
It
have
didn't
a
have. It's one
quarterback,
game.
too.
Yeah, one game sample size.
Yeah.
Right.
But we'll see.
All right.
All right, next up, Tez Johnson, Oregon wide receiver, 5'9" and 7/8", 154 pounds. I graduated high school at 154 pounds. I was very skinny.
I graduated high school with my left leg at 154 pounds.
9-inch hands, 22 years old. He'll be 23 in May. In the 40, he ran a 4.51. He had a 1.53 10-yard split. He did do the 20-yard shuttle, 4.15, and the 3-cone, 6.65. Woo! Guy was moving. Broad jump of 131 inches, 37-inch vertical. Last year at Oregon, he had 83 receptions, 898 yards receiving, 10 touchdowns. And 1 rush attempt for -1 yards. I guess I could have left that out. 101 targets, 3 drops.
That didn't work.
That didn't work out great. All right, that's it, guys.
Yeah,
That's it.
Moving on.
That's it. Moving on.
So-
Next guy up, Jalen Royals. No, I'm just kidding. Go on.
Tez Johnson. So it's a name that we've heard quite a bit.
Right.
He's got the tie to Bo Nix, and his family brought him in, and it's a cool story. It really is. It's a very cool story, heartwarming. He put up a lot of receptions this past year. However, with 83 receptions, you would have assumed he would have broken 1,000 yards. He did not.
He did the
How many
previous
targets did he have?
101.
I thought I would have guessed it'd been more.
Yeah, he had a ton of opportunity this past year for Tez Johnson. First of all, 154 pounds. Like we kind of
154 pounds.
we got to start there.
Dude,
That's why I said it. That's why I said it.
dudes.
Dudes.
If Dynasty Fantasy Football was Cialis, Tez Johnson just gets me flaccid because 154 pounds is the biggest. I was worried about Tank Dell coming to the league. I was worried about him.
I remember, yeah.
And I was talking like, well, he's a nice receiver. He's got good hands. I was like,
I will never draft a player this size.
Yeah, I was like,
I remember you saying that.
Tez Johnson is 11 pounds lighter
Completely off my board.
than. Oh, he's completely off my board. I mean, and look at.
That's what you said. Yeah.
And listen, and look what happened with Tank. Tank was like a Rice Krispie treat. Snap, crackle, and pop all mixed together and treated like a horror film prop. Like, and he was good. He actually caught the ball with his hands, right? Like, Tez Johnson's a body catcher as well. Look what the NFL did to Tank Dell in 2 years. First year, snapped his leg at the goal line. Last year was a horror film. Guys like him cannot take the beating of NFL. I'm sorry. They can't.
I was 155 pounds in high school, and I didn't play high school football because I was too small to play in high school. Come on, man.
Go to the pros.
This is pros.
And that's the thing.
It's a different game than it was back then, but come on. That's small.
This would be a slightly different conversation if he was doing some things at an elite level in college.
Yes, exactly.
And that's the hard part is there's nothing on tape that screams elite. Sure, like, yeah, he's quick. Like he has some suddenness to his game. Like he runs okay routes. Like he has all of like those like things you would expect for a guy that small, but still like he's not running a 4.2. He's not making incredible one-handed catches. He's not just absolutely torching defenders regularly and creating tons of separation. Like
and you need to have him in the slot, on the move before the snap.
Yes.
You have to manufacture things for him. And why are you going to manufacture things for a 155-pound guy, dude?
A bouncer would keep him a real bouncer would keep him outside of a bar with 2 fingers.
Yeah, probably. And he's 23. He'll be 23.
Yeah, he's an older prospect. Like
off my board.
I know he's been talked about as like a day 2 guy. I don't see it at all.
No.
I see Tutu Atwell is what I see.
Who did go one day. He was 2nd or 3rd round.
Second round
Tutu
Rams.
Atwell.
Yeah, he's worse. There's the thing. All the guys you're going to compare him to, they're light. He's worse. And he's
Calvin Austin's better.
And he's lighter. He's lighter. That's the thing. He's even lighter. I mean, he had to try and bulk up some for the combine. Some.
I'm sure he did.
He still came in at 150 more pounds.
Or was he slow and he shed weight?
I don't know because he didn't run a great 40.
I mean,
dude,
he didn't. No.
But
what if it was worse?
It's never a pleasure to talk bad about these kids that are trying to make their NFL dreams come true. But I'll say this. From a dynasty fantasy football aspect, he is off my board. I want nothing to do with him whatsoever. I would bet anything he would never be any relevance whatsoever. He's a roster clog, waste of a draft pick. Don't do it.
I wish I had more, but I think we unfortunately should.
I think we all agree.
No, we need to stop beating up.
Next.
Yep. Next up, Jalen Royals, Utah. I tried to move on immediately.
You did.
Y'all didn't let me.
It is because it's unfortunate. Like it's not.
You were joking.
It's not something you want to do. Like you don't do with a smile. It's nothing.
No.
And it's nothing personal whatsoever.
Great
But, like,
story.
And listen, and
He'll
to be
probably
honest,
get drafted to get paid.
I was going to say, to be honest, he's going to be on an NFL team,
Yeah.
and he does punt returns and stuff. But he's probably going to make something out of his career.
Sure.
I've graded worse receivers.
He's just not fantasy football relevant.
That's how I describe him that way. Like, yeah, he's going to do something that I could only never imagine. And that's make it to the league.
Right.
What a fantastic accomplishment in life to do something where very few people could do.
Yep.
But from the fantasy aspect, again, we're not drafting defensive linemen either. So.
Exactly. Those guys can shove it as well.
Yeah. Suck it, guys. Take that out, Jewel Carter.
God, that guy's
Off
so
my
good.
board.
That guy's so good.
I will not draft him.
We said thing like if Travis Hunter's going to play both, like he's off our board almost, like not off our board, but like
It hurts.
yeah.
You do have to calculate where you're going to draft that guy.
Next.
Next up, Jalen Royals, Utah State wide receiver, 6 foot, 205 pounds, 9.5-inch hands. He's 22. He just turned 22 in February. He ran a 4.42 in the 40, a 1.49 10-yard split. Whoo, man, that's moving. He bench pressed 13 bench press reps. Amazing. Somebody actually bench pressed. I think he was the only one.
He was like, I can do better than most of these guys. I'll just do it for fun.
I can do one and do more than anyone else.
Yeah.
7 games last year. He had 55 receptions, 834 yards receiving, and 6 touchdowns. And he had 81 targets. So in only 7 games, 81 targets. So pretty good.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
You said it's 40, right?
4.42, and then we all whistled.
He's got 9.5-inch hands
9.5
too. So
inch
he's got
hands.
big hands. Like this guy screams athlete.
It was
You know what
it was a foot injury, I believe, that shortened
Yep.
his season.
Big hands, screams
and
athlete.
he's obviously dude, my hands are 9 5/8,
I got tens.
or maybe it was 9 7/8. It was something like that.
And you got recruited to play quarterback.
But I
at
must
Akron.
be a hell of an athlete. That's all I got to say on Rich's
I
scale.
keep swearing. Sorry.
Yeah. So Jalen Royals is somebody who honestly I didn't really know anything about whatsoever, and I came away pretty impressed. I thought he was a very crafty receiver. I thought he was very aware of defenders where he was. I thought he had very subtle moves that just weaved into his routes. I thought he was a zone killer. I thought he did really well against zone. I thought he had really good body control. I saw many times where he actually, he's a hands catcher, plucking the ball away from his body many times.
Oh, that catch against Utah down the sideline.
Oh, dude.
The one-handed one.
Dude, thing of beauty, man.
I didn't think he caught it. I had to rewind it like 4 times. I was like,
Wait,
did he
which
catch
one?
that? The one against Utah?
I think I thought he missed that one also.
No, he caught that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I had to rewind it like 4 times, and then I saw where they were lined up on the next play. I was like, oh, he did catch it.
Yeah, to make
Holy
sure.
cow.
Go back. I did that many times. You hit the rewind, go back 5 seconds, go back 5 seconds. Like, did he catch it? It's
I do that all the time.
I had to go watch some broadcast angles of it. Some of the players, wide receivers mainly.
I mean, dude, this guy fights for space like it's the old days on a Black Friday at Best Buy. I mean, he'll work back towards the QB with his aggression. I mean, underneath he's a gear, like he just gets it done. Like he's a solid receiver and he's got the strength to get it done. I mean, if you're looking for a solid possession receiver, like he's right up your alley as well. But he's got the speed and athleticism to really get it done. Came away very impressed. If you're going to look at some negatives on here, I mean, he's got a small resume. Doesn't have a lot on film. He's got the injuries, he's got the foot injury, so that's going to be somewhat of concern as well. So how does his health come back? Looking for him there. But he's not, again, he's going to be more of a possession receiver than a deep receiver. But overall,
do you see, on that note, do you see him outside?
I think he can do both.
I think he could do either. I would love him in the slot.
I think I would love him in the slot.
Yeah.
But I think he could do either.
That's what he did, the outside.
Yes, and he was mostly left receiver X guy.
Yeah, and he was growing in the amount of slot stuff that he did, every single year doing kind of more, and he ended up being 20% or 21% in the slot this past season. For me, I feel like he could excel in the slot. I feel like that's if I was drafting him in the NFL, that's where I would want him to end up.
He's a Golden Tate type. Yeah. He's the Debo Samuel type.
He breaks tackles a lot.
I mean, he's 205 pounds at 6 foot.
Right.
Like he's built like LaQuint Allen. They're basically the identical size.
They are.
But he's playing receiver. I did not actually have everything on my sheet for him was actually above average.
Yeah.
Lots of sevens, lots of 7.5s. Like I really liked his releases off the line. I think he varied them.
I think he varied his tempo of all his routes really well. I liked a lot of what I saw.
Was a killer with the crossing routes and the posts. Yeah. Like because when he got ahead of steam too, he was really tough to bring down. Yeah. And I really liked seeing him against Utah because they play press man so much. So I love it when teams play Utah because I really get to see what is this going to look like at the next level. They tend to have pretty good corners and they do a lot of press man.
That's how Pitt used to be.
Yeah. With Revis and stuff back in the day. But watching him, he didn't have like an amazing game against Utah. He had a good game against Utah, but that was the game where he had the nice, like fought through contact to make the one-handed catch, like was able to get open. He was another guy that was hampered a little bit by his quarterback play. There were definitely times where you're like, where was that pass? Like what? So he's definitely hampered by not great quarterback play, but Royals really shot up my board, 75.28 for him. So he ended up with a really nice score for me. And I see him as kind of one of those hybrid players because of his build and his ability. But I think he's enough of a standalone polished receiver that he doesn't have to be typecast into that role, which is really nice because it's usually like he's like this gadget, like running back. Like he could be that guy if the team wants him to be that. But if you say, no, I just want you to line up on the outside and do your thing, like I think he can do that as well. So that's the nice part is there's a lot of different fits for Royals that I really like. I think he's going to go fairly high in the NFL draft. I think he's easily a day 2 guy. I think he might be a second rounder.
He's a physical receiver.
I think
like when Rasheed Rice and Jaden Reed went high.
Yeah.
I was going to say same thing. Jaden Reed. I feel like he's kind of like a Jaden Reed-ish guy, but
maybe a little bit bigger.
Maybe a little bit bigger of a guy. Yeah. So, but and more sudden. I don't know. There's some suddenness in his route.
I really liked him.
That I really, really like. And visually, that's one of those things that sometimes I have a hard time quantifying into words, but you see it and you know immediately, like, yes, that translates. What he's doing translates to the NFL and separating and just there's certain leverage points and deception that you need to have as a wide receiver, and he's got that kind of stuff.
The numbers he put up in 7 games too, over 800 yards in 7 games. Yeah. Like I get it, it's Utah State. It's not like, but they played some pretty good teams on that schedule as well. So it's not
he's
like
got better hands than Jaden Reed.
I think so too.
I had Jaden Reed as a comp too. That's funny.
So he's a very, and it goes back to what I said before. Like he got me. I said, I watched a Tet McMillan film. I'm like, oh, okay. This guy's the number 1 guy. I'm like, oh, okay. I hope he's not the number 1 guy.
And there couldn't be like two different, like more different
Yeah.
wide receiver types.
Oh, yeah, it's very different.
than a Tet McMillan.
But then you go to Tez
and
Johnson
Jones,
and you know the name and you watch his tape and you're like, this is,
Oh, no.
I'm done after a game. Like, I don't need to see any more, kind of thing. So you're like, okay, really is going to be a bad receiver class. And then boom, I go right in the Jalen Royals and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, hold up. I don't even know who this guy is.
Back, baby.
It got me more excited about like the receivers. Like I really am now looking forward to like all these other guys. Cause I know I was looking ahead a little next week. Like I was watching some Jack Beck film at TCU and I was like, wow, this guy looks really good.
I can't wait to watch him because I've heard so much good stuff about him.
He looks
You started as a tight end
like to the point I was
at
like,
LSU.
I was like, do I like Jack
Started
Beck
as a
more
tight
than
end?
Tet
At
McMillan?
LSU, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I know that he was there at LSU, but I thought he was
Dang.
wide receiver.
It was like a hybrid.
I haven't watched him yet.
No deep dive, but I literally was like, dude, do I like Jack Beck more than Tet McMillan? Like just like dude, like
I mean, he was the
casual
Senior
to get
Bowl
part of it.
MVP.
Yeah,
I've heard nothing but amazing stuff about
So,
him, and I can't wait.
I'm just gonna say that, you know what I mean? But like that's what Jalen Royals got me excited about. So for me, Jalen Royals, like, yeah, I was like, dude, this guy's like a second round rookie pick for me. Like wherever he's let me put it this way. For how deep the running back class is, I'm like, man, I might be able to like snag this guy up into like the late
It makes
second.
it easier to justify
Maybe, yeah.
like taking early running backs.
Yeah.
Because like, is there a huge difference between this guy and some of the other receivers? No.
And there's probably a good chance, like, because how deep the running back class is, the tight ends, everything, I could probably get Jalen Royals at the top of the third.
You honestly might be able to when it's all said and done. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. He might get the NFL. But even, and I go back to it, it's like when Rashee Rice and Jaden Reed went in the second round, and they got that kind of bump for the,
Yeah,
obviously
everything
the Chiefs,
goes up, right.
Green Bay, they still went like either very late second or early third. And that class wasn't as deep as like this class. So really like his tape, really solid player. And I'm glad like we're all on
board.
We're all on the same page. I texted Jared. I was like, dude, because we were texting earlier. I was like, man, I really like this Royals kid.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, me and Garrett like him too. And I'm like, oh, nice. Like, sweet, like in my head.
Yeah, team.
You know?
Did you guys see he's the Senior Bowl Offensive Player of the Week and the Shrine Bowl Offensive Player of the Week?
I didn't realize he played at the Shrine Bowl too.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't know if I didn't know if that was correct. I tried to like fact check it, and I
Shows
came
that kid's
across
hungry though.
the
He's
one
like,
article.
bro, I'll go from one game to the next. I don't care.
Yeah,
Like
so I thought that spoke. I was like, okay, that's
he probably wanted to show scouts because he missed
Yeah,
some time at the end of the year. Like show him I'm healthy. I'm
Yeah.
good to go. Like
that was good to see. Is both like Offensive Player of the Week.
Yeah.
So Jalen Royals, Utah State, 4 for 4. We all like
We're
his
in.
game. Yeah, right now he'd be my wide receiver too.
At this moment, yeah,
Ditto.
absolutely.
Me too.
And not as big of a gap as I would have thought.
Exactly.
So before we get to our third or our fourth receiver here,
You probably get a value on him and what you're about to talk about.
Oh yeah, good value on him.
exactly. So like when you hear these episodes, we have a great partnership for you. And we talked about it in the last episode. We're so excited about our new partnership with FastDraft Fantasy. It's a lightning fast best ball platform where you can complete drafts in under 5 minutes. Right now, they're featuring their rookie-only tournaments before the NFL draft even happens. Like they said, once NFL draft happens, those drafts are open. So it's absolutely perfect time to leverage guys like Jalen Royals and LaQuint Allen with all the film room knowledge that you're getting to get into these drafts. And if you use the promo code NERDS when you sign up at FastDraft, they're going to match your first deposit up 100% up to $25. Now, the biggest thing here as well is we're going to help you support our partners because this is a brand new thing. This is a brand new app, a brand new way to do best ball. So to help support our new partners, if you're not a Nerd Herd member, this is the perfect time to get a taste of what we have to offer, right? The film room, to get this film room, to get the Dynasty GM app, which is the best Dynasty app in the world. Get that league analyzer, get the nerd score, get the rookie guide, all for free. All you have to do is at least deposit $10 and enter one contest. And if you use the promo code NERDS, you're going to get full access to our everything we have at Dynasty Nerds. The Nerd Herd, the GM,
For 1 year.
everything we got for a full year. It's a $70 value. And even if you're a Nerd Herd member already and you still use the promo code NERDS and do a $10 deposit, we're going to give you a free shirt. And we have every nerd shirt possible for a team that you like. If you want a Chargers theme one, you want the original OG one that's just black, which is my favorite. You want the old school gray one that Matt's wearing. Like,
Bam.
you get a free shirt for $10. So by supporting our partners, we're going to give you back as well. All you got to do is go download the Fast Draft app. Go to draftfaster.com. Use that promo code NERDS. Deposit $10, enter a contest, and we're going to hook you up here at Dynasty Nerds. You're either going to get a free year membership or a sweet t-shirt. Check them out now. I signed up yesterday, and I'm going to jump in some drafts tomorrow. I'm really excited about myself. Obviously, I'm going to get that free membership.
It's fun because the drafts are like, they're done.
They're super quick. Yeah.
They sound fast.
They sound like you could draft
That's the point.
pretty quick. I think. Let's also make sure that we tell you guys about FFPC. We've been partners with them for a long time because they're so fantastic.
They're the best.
Great platform, especially if you want to play in those high stakes leagues. Yeah, you can play $35 leagues. You don't have to go crazy, but you can play in leagues that are up to $2,500 entries. That's not the pot at the end.
That's not the payout.
No, that's the entry. You are a true baller at that point if you're paying in those kinds of leagues. We're going to give you $25 off any league. So even if it's just the $35 league, we'll give you that $25 off. But here's the thing. It's a huge platform that they've been doing this since 2010. So there's some reputability there. They've never had a league fold. So that's massive. There's nothing worse than getting in a league, getting excited about your team, and it folding. And they have a lot of different ways that you can play. Ones with unique triflex leagues or ones with no kickers or defenses. They have all kinds of different things. Active year round. Go to myffpc.com. That's myffpc.com. Use promo code NERDS, and you'll get that entry fee of $25 added to your account.
All right, so we're moving on to the next guy on the list, right?
Next up.
This is the one that you guys slipped in on me.
Slippery like a snake.
So I don't have many opinions, but I do have a name and some numbers. So Daniel Jackson, wide receiver from Minnesota. He's 5'10" and 3/4, 193 pounds, 9-inch hands. He has a 74 and 3/4 inch wingspan. And he ran a 4.07 in the 20-yard, which is pretty good on the 20-yard shuttle. He didn't run the 40 or anything like that. And he had a 6.783 cone. I don't have any of his stats in front of me, so I don't know how he performed at Minnesota.
Well, it's Minnesota, so you can pretty safely assume there wasn't crazy numbers.
It was probably like 450 yards max.
He did not eclipse 1,000 yards.
Okay. All right. So go ahead, guys, because I have nothing to say because, like I said, you guys slipped this one in on me. Changed out another guy. I have some stuff to say about Jamal Pritchett.
Hey, did you like him?
No.
All right, good. Glad we switched him out. So this was a player that was kind of a later addition for us, and this happens almost every year where there's a guy or two that, when we start to make our list originally, we base it off of who's invited to the combine, who went to the Senior Bowl, who went to the Shrine Bowl, who put up numbers, and we try to make a list based off that. But especially at wide receiver, there's just so many players that some guys slip through the cracks. Hearing more about this Daniel Jackson kid, decided to put him in, and I'm glad we did. I think overall, he's a very, very solid player. Had really nice release off the line. Really solid route running. He's not this like physically imposing player, but he's a player that seemed to always be in the right spot. Great hands catcher. I want this kid to be a little bit bigger than he is because he plays like a big player. Like he's smooth, but he's got that physicality. He can box guys out, catch. My only real big knock with him is he's not the most explosive guy. He's not going to get you like a ton of yards after the catch, and he's not an amazing separator. So that's the concern with him, is where he does a lot of things well and a lot of things right. There might be a little bit of a capped ceiling on some of the big plays and things like that. So that's my concern overall with Daniel Jackson. I mean, he would even get aggressive with run blocking. Coaches are going to love that kind of stuff. He does a lot of little things right. He's almost like a Kyle Manung guy for me at wide receiver versus a running back, where he's football player enough for sure. Is he athlete enough? That's what I'm not sure about.
Always a bit of a red flag when they do things like the 20-yard and 3-cone, but not the 40.
It is odd
that maybe there is some cap to what their ultimate speed or upside actually is on that.
I thought his speed was fine on tape though, which is weird.
I thought it was good enough. That's what I have here.
Again, this is a player that I came away pleasantly surprised with. I actually liked his tape a good amount, and I thought he won smartly, right? And like you said, he played the position where he was almost like the defensive backs were playing Jeopardy, right? Because they're just guessing the whole time for what he did. Because he'd vary his speed routes. He'd he gets some good sneaky cuts in there, and he has really good hands. He's really physical. I mean, the thing that really popped my eyes, it was late in the game, but it was versus Penn State. I mean, the quarterback led him on a football, and it's almost like he put his receiver in a bad spot, and he made the catch over almost over the shoulders right into the defensive back, and he got leveled, and he held on the football tight. And I saw it again. I mean, versus Iowa, had a guy draped all over him, still got spun around, still had the ball and came down with the football. I mean, he's got really good hands. He's got 9-inch mitts, so that really shows that he's got this good hand size. He's got vice grip hands. He's a really solid receiver. I just slowly get into it. I was like, okay, maybe it's just he's having a really good game versus this team. I was like, no, he's playing Penn State here. Like, this is like
one of the better defenses in college football.
Yeah. So I went. So I was like, you know what? Let me go from right to Penn State. Let me go back to the Big Ten. You know, obviously he plays the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. Let me go to Iowa. Same thing. 2 of his best games were versus Iowa and Penn State. And I thought, like, you're right. Like, is this a high level receiver? No, but like he's something to being a number 2 receiver on an NFL team. And to me, that's somebody who can win at a fantasy football level. This is a player, Daniel Jackson, out of Minnesota, to me, who could be a wide receiver 3. So these are kind of guys I love to get late, that could slide into my roster, that I could put in my starting lineup when needed, whether it be flex play or a wide receiver 3 or an injury that also offers some upside, right? Like maybe he's gonna be a later round pick, and obviously like Stephon Diggs was like a high recruit coming out of Maryland.
Jacoby Myers, kind of.
Jacoby Myers, a great example of Jacoby Myers, who could end up being like, like he's Jacoby Myers. It's just Jacoby Myers, but he's gonna give you multiple wide receiver 2 years.
Hey, put him in a flex spot.
I was gonna say, is Jacoby Myers like the new school like Brian Hartline? Who nobody cares anything about, but he puts up 1,000 yards and just like it produces.
Gets open.
I remember back in the day when we first started doing the Dynasty podcast 11 years ago, we were saying, hey, man, a lot of people, you get Brian Hartline for nothing right now, but you can slide him in your lineup, and he's a championship caliber player.
Jarvis Landry was that guy for a long time. Robert Woods was that guy for a long time.
So I mean,
there's a spot for him.
He's a little undersized at 193 pounds. He's 5'11", so he's got the height, but he plays tough. I was very pleasantly surprised, and it came right back after Jalen Royal. So like, I went from watching Tet McMillan. I was like, again, nice player, like him, graded higher than both these guys for sure. The Tez, then you go Jalen Royals, then you watch Daniel Jackson. You're like, whoa, people are like kind of talking down this wide receiver class. Like, I'm a little excited. I was like, if I could, I've heard nothing about Daniel Jackson. If I could sneak shares of him, this is the exact kind of receiver that I want on my dynasty rosters. Like, if I'm going to have some guys in the back and I can get rid of some more well-known guys and get a young guy like him on there, I love it. I think he has some really good game. And yeah, like, is he going to come in and, beat press coverage? Probably not. Like,
his releases were good though. Like, I liked his release package. I thought it was the best out of the guys.
He has the highest release package for me as well.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah.
What did you end up with him on him, Jared? I had a 72.85.
I had a 72.98.
Almost in lockstep. I love it.
Just not a burn. He's just not a burner.
He's not.
Yeah, but he is really good at using like pace to his advantage.
Yes, his cadence is fantastic.
Yeah, like I thought, not elite speed. That's where he's capped. Athleticism, like that caps his upside, but it's good enough, and I think he's probably the best route runner that we watched in this class. I mean, not in this class. Still have plenty of guys to get to, but in today's group, yeah, I thought and I pride myself on, you guys know this, like I pride myself on knowing all these guys already because I played Campus to Canton League, Devi and all that. I had no idea who this guy was. And he's a Big Ten receiver. I'm just like, I was expecting, here comes another 65, late
low
Senior
score.
Bowl invite. But dude, I liked it. It was good enough I tweeted something out the other day. I was like,
I saw that.
Here's an under the radar guy I really like, nobody's talking about. So
I think the name that you mentioned was actually a great name, Jarvis Landry.
Yeah.
So we went like third. I think it was a third rounder NFL draft. But same thing, we watched him like, this guy's
not a ton of speed. Yeah.
He's
He
not
was
really
like a
fast.
4.7 guy.
Yeah,
wasn't
he's
he?
like
Tough though.
Yeah.
Not fast, but plays real tough and knows how to win at the receiver position and works real hard at it.
Yeah.
Good with his route running, his cadence, some of those. So yeah, I think Jarvis Landry probably is a pretty. I could
see him being that kind of player at the next level.
Jarvis is a little thicker,
Sure.
but Jarvis gave you really good wide receiver.
He was also like a 5'11" guy. He wasn't like
Yeah.
physically imposing. So
a little thicker than.
I think you might be right. Yeah,
but I love that comp and that because that's the mentality that he has, and that's how he wins at the dynasty level. And Jarvis
just to be
Landry
that kind of player, yeah,
gave you like 5 really good years,
for sure,
and that's a win. And you probably got Jarvis Landry in the 4th round of your rookie draft, late third round of your rookie draft, and that's where Daniel Jackson falls in.
I had Keenan Allen written down too because that's just I don't know when I watch him like that's obviously a very high end comp because of how good Keenan Allen.
Sure, he ended up being a fantastic.
Not saying he's going to produce like that
on a different level,
right? But I mean, this guy's he's a good route runner.
He is.
Yeah.
Matt,
you need to watch him.
You definitely have to. Yeah,
can't wait to watch him.
Yeah.
My bad. That's on me.
Not really.
Not really. Yeah, it was on both of us. It was
shared blame.
It was like 3/4 me and a quarter you.
Like he's again. I know it's early, but he's my wide receiver 3.
Hey, starting off high. Nowhere to go but down.
All right, next up, Daquan Felton, Virginia Tech wide receiver. Speaking of going down,
wait,
I think it's
is it Daquan? Wait, what am I?
Jimmy Horn?
No, Dante Thornton.
Dante
Thornton.
I'm all messed
Wide
up.
receiver Tennessee.
I'm all messed up. Go ahead. Somebody else take him.
6'5", 205 pounds, ran a 4.3 40-yard dash.
I got Jimmy Horn at least.
33-inch vertical, 10'6" broad jump. And listen, you see a guy who's 6'5",
He did a broad jump.
205 pounds, who runs a 4.3. You're like, wow. Unfortunately, if like this was Monopoly and he couldn't pass go, like you're never going to win the game. And all he really runs is just go routes. Like
he ran like literally like 3 routes. That's his tree.
Post go and
yeah. He's
post go and curl.
Like I guess the best. Like this is not a good comp. Like okay, not good for him at least. He's like a poor man's Alec Pierce.
Yeah, Martavis Bryant,
Who's a poor man's good wide receiver.
Alec Pierce.
He has 2 games every year that are super exciting.
Listen, the kid, like,
I will say this. For an NFL team, because
yes,
or a best ball team, maybe.
Yes.
I could see some excitement because there is size.
Yeah.
There is speed. And like he can make the big plays. Like he showed over and over that he can make some big plays.
Yeah, he's got good hands too.
I had no issue with his hands, but you're right. Like there's no nuance to his game.
It's hard to grade that.
Dude, if you play too high safety against him, he might as well be a Tesla after an EMP went off. It ain't going anywhere.
And when their film is like 3 minutes long, that tells you something too.
Right.
It's like,
certain plays,
so he
certain
wasn't
times.
used that much
His
too.
numbers weren't amazing. Like he had some monster plays, and when he caught the ball, you weren't catching him. Like it wasn't
he's
even
fast.
close. Like he would just outrun receivers.
recruit, too.
But he is like specifically like he is like the definition of like this is your niche. You stay here.
Yeah. It's just for Dynasty, like unless that route tree grows, which I'm not.
Waiver pickup
Yeah.
after rookie drafts.
Yeah.
And it helps the NFL team,
For sure.
Run four wide receiver sets, you got to spread the field. Like he can get done. He can track the ball. He can catch the football.
Because it wouldn't surprise me if he has multiple seasons where it's like, hey, he had 40 catches for 700 yards and 7 touchdowns.
He graded higher than Tez Johnson for me.
He graded higher than Tez for me too.
He's boomer bust, and you want him paired up with a big arm guy like Justin Herbert. So like a Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, somewhere along those lines.
Josh, he could fill that. He would crush at the Gabe Davis role.
Yeah.
He would crush in the Gabe Davis role.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
These guys are like really fast.
It's the traditional Z.
Can't catch.
It's like the perfect Z type of player, but those guys just don't usually work out for fantasy.
Yeah.
And it said Gabe Davis is his ceiling. And you're never put it. They say, oh, Gabe Davis had 5 catches for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. You put him next week, you're like, oh, you didn't even have
2
a target.
catches. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's just unfortunately like an NFL player to help, but like real long shot. Not saying he has a chance, but he's a real long shot to be.
I'm in two dynasty best ball leagues. I'm much more interested in him there than I am in my traditional leagues.
Yeah, and it's a good call. If you play best ball, he's definitely on your board.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to draft him in the late, still back half of your draft.
Sure, but he's going to have those
upside.
weeks.
Yeah, 100%.
he will have those weeks. All right.
Cool.
Last up,
Sorry, man.
Jimmy Horn, I think.
This one for sure.
Colorado wide receiver, 5'8" and 1/8 inches high, 174 pounds, 8 3/4 inch hands. He's 22. He'll be 23 in September. He ran a 4.46 in the 40, a 1.54 10-yard split, 128-inch broad jump, 38-inch vertical. He had 37 receptions last year for 441 yards receiving and 1 touchdown in 11 games.
Jimmy Horn. So watching him at Colorado, it was interesting watching him and Tez Johnson in the same week.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of similarities between these two players. But the funny part is I think Jimmy Horn's actually maybe a better version of Tez Johnson.
100%.
Even though I'm still not super interested in Jimmy Horn. No. If I was going to draft one, it would probably be Jimmy Horn. And I think he's a guy that most people maybe haven't even heard of compared to Tez Johnson, who's being drafted in, second round of Dynasty mocks right now and things like that. So
even with a famous father like Joe.
Even with a famous father that's not real, he's still, people don't know much about him. All of that being said, I don't think he's somebody I'm going to prioritize super high. But I did like his movement skills. I thought he had very good movement skills. He played faster than I think his timed speed was.
Fast.
He looked a lot faster on the field than he did in his 40.
4.46 isn't slow.
No, it's not slow, but he looked more like a mid 4.3s
fast
guy.
and quick.
Yep.
Yes, and he got in and out of his breaks really well. He's interesting to me. There is no physicality really to his game. He tries at times to have a little bit.
Yeah, I like that.
He just doesn't have the build and frame for it. He tries though.
Yeah.
So I respect the effort. There's just not much fruit that can come from that type of frame. Decent body control, better at contested catches than I would have thought for a guy of his size. So he's interesting
Good
to me.
returner too.
Yeah. So he's definitely on my board. He's not somebody I'm prioritizing, but I don't hate him.
I think the special teams ability, a team might put him there, so that gives him a little bit.
What did you see from a route running standpoint?
I think there were times where you could see the movement skills lended itself to him being a good route runner.
I saw him round a lot.
But he rounded a lot because he was fast enough to do it.
Yeah.
I think
so that's the tricky part.
I think it's hard to even. I don't think he's that great of a route runner simply because, like you said, he didn't have to. I think he benefited from having a ton of space off cover. Like all his coverage was space, and he had the speed just to get going and round his routes. So
he's moving at the line. He's moving at the snap of the ball.
Yeah.
He's in the slot.
It was tough to grade.
91% of the time he was in the slot. So it is very hard to do a grade on guys like that as far as
a 7.
What translates to the NFL and what kind of doesn't.
I don't see him after all the again for
him or Tez Johnson if you had to take one.
Oh, him.
Okay.
Tez Johnson's off my board.
Okay.
He's not off my board, but he's at the very bottom.
He's like a 4th rounder. Depending
no,
on
he's
his spot.
He's lower than that.
The hard part is even though he's still on my
I'll take
board,
running back 25.
That's the thing with this class and just how I play.
It's true. Yeah.
I would rather just give me all the backup quarterbacks, give me all the backup running backs.
He's not
as
a
opposed
guy.
to giving me my wide receiver 12.
That's the right way to do it.
He's not a guy I'm super interested in.
He is not, I said he's the very depends. Like if I have a 6th round pick, he's just somebody that's there.
I recognize the
players.
name.
Instead of taking him over Tez Johnson, because he offers no
He'd have to be a slot PPR guy.
That's what
he'd have to fall into.
I was gonna say, think of the slot guys. Think of the Cole Beasleys and
Dortch,
slot guys that
Valley.
have had real value
Dortch,
in fantasy. And Cole Beasley is just better than what I see when I watch Jimmy Horn. Just much better at
he had one good
short
year
area. Yeah, short area quickness and explosion and sharp cuts to gain separation in short areas. I don't see that with him.
Yeah.
And way more than 174
And that's what bothers me about a guy like Jimmy Horn. And
at least it's not 154.
Right.
No kidding. I mean, that's
he's also got
154
small hands. He's got 109
bricks.
inch hands too. So and listen, this year if you read up on Jimmy Horn too, this year wasn't a problem. 23 was a bad problem with drops from what I read.
Yeah.
So for
he
me,
he only had 2 drops, but I mean, he only had 37 catches.
Exactly. So and that's the thing.
I mean?
So you could do much better. These are the kind of players I really try to avoid. I'd rather much gamble even on an uptick, a a quarterback, that has a chance. Give me a deeper tight end, or just give me for how deep this running back class is. Give me a running back.
Just
sure.
It's hard. Take Ontario Brown.
Yes.
Take Brashard Smith.
Oh, Ontario Brown above
Take Jaden Blue.
Yeah.
Take
100%.
Yep.
Yeah,
There's
that's
just
the smart
it's
way
hard to
to play.
find
Donovan
fantasy
Edwards.
values in a Jimmy Horn.
Yep. I would even take
That says a lot.
Edwards.
Donovan Edwards over him.
Matt
He's
wouldn't
just-
though. Matt hates him.
Again,
Donovan Edwards might have the lowest score ever for me. I don't know.
You hated it. I don't know how
lower
it's
than
worse
Tez
than
Johnson.
You Buckeye fan.
than Phil Maffa and
Yeah,
Jaquindon
but even
Jackson,
then,
but-
like it sucks to say he's not off my board, but again, he's at the
Right.
very
Yeah.
bottom of my
Yep.
board
There's been worse.
Yeah, it's hard to find value for a guy like that.
for a dynasty prospect. Again,
In fantasy football, it's hard.
yeah. When
It's just hard.
we're talking about players, we're not here to judge their NFL likelihood of making a team or what they contribute to NFL roster. We're just thinking about how can they help me win a dynasty fantasy football championship, and if they can't do that, how can they help me via trade? How do they have a path to at least help me via trade? Some skill set there, and he doesn't check off any of those boxes.
That's where the running backs and
Yeah.
quarterbacks. That's where they're going to help you.
You could find a Jimmy Horn Jr. on
the
your waiver wire.
100%.
And a better guy to pick up, for the 1 week to slide in like a Josh Reynolds or anybody.
The example I use, Cole Beasley. Not many people drafted Cole Beasley and had him on his roster when he was good. It was by the time he was good, they scooped him up. They were the fastest one on the waiver wire. They had the best priority on the waiver wire that week, and then you were able to use them or sell them.
we're losing. Yeah.
So overall, good start, I would say, to the wide receiver class. 3 guys that we all like.
3 guys, yeah.
And Daniel Jackson. Matt still has to watch him.
I mean, two guys that I watched.
Jalen Royals and Tet
I
McMillan.
watched 2 guys for no reason.
We still got some good big names to come. We still got Luther Burden. We still have Emeka Ibuka. We still have Travis Hunter.
Matthew Golden.
We still have Matthew Golden.
That's the
and
guy.
We still have Jack Beck.
I'm getting pumped for Matthew
Bond.
Golden.
Isaiah
I want
Bond.
to see him.
They Bond, Trey Harris.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Trey Harris out of Missouri. Because I remember watching the Missouri tape. I remember telling you, I was like, dude, that Trey Harris kid looked pretty good out of Missouri.
I think Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Oh,
that's
Ole
what it
Miss.
is.
That's Luther Burden's out of Missouri.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Because we were Jackson Dart. We were watching Jackson Dart. And we're like, man, that Trey Harris kid's pretty good.
Yeah.
From watching Jackson Dart. That's how I saw. I didn't know anything about Trey Harris, so I watched Jackson Dart.
Yeah, he makes some big plays.
I took him in an early mock that Garrett and I did.
Perfect. So we'll be back next week. We have 2 more shows, 12 more receivers to go, 24 total. And then we'll be the tight ends, and we'll be at the NFL draft before we know it. Tune in later this week. We still have the Nerd Herd Show. Remember, you can have part of the Nerd Herd as well.
Extra
Get a free
show,
extra
baby.
podcast. I know Garrett and I, we're going to have an interview show here coming up very soon.
Review show.
Reed Ferguson,
Yeah.
long snapper of the Buffalo Bills.
I'm
will be joining
excited
the
about
Dynasty
that. I'm excited
show.
about
Longest tenured Buffalo Bill, highest paid long snapper in NFL history will be joining the show.
Also, real quick mini plug. You'll be joining us tomorrow for the first time, but roster rescue. If you're interested in getting your roster taken a look at, tell you how to fix your teams. The little YouTube show we're doing is pretty fun.
I have no idea what I'm going to be getting myself into, so we'll see. You'll guide me. You'll hold my hand.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
Come here. Join
And we'll
me.
be back tomorrow.
Adios.